Hello, Martin here, and I'm just adding Tarmo as a speaker. Okay, so Tarmo will join as a speaker too, and then we will be starting. Okay, let's wait a little bit. Tarmo, I think you have like a... yes. Hey, Tarmo, can you hear me? Hey, Tarmo. Okay, then hello everyone. Let's start with our Twitter X-Space series. We are doing this series regularly every 2 weeks. We are speaking about the Web3 and AI. And today we will be speaking about how to speed up Web3 and DeFi growth, meaning how to get more users, what is required for this, and what is the role of an AI and a proper architecture in these topics. Now, before we start, because we will get a lot of listeners, okay, there is one set of people who will listen now during the presentation, during the talk. Now, the other set of people, we'll get them then who will listen afterwards. Now, it's Saturday, probably very, very many people will listen then afterwards. So therefore, let's do little introductions. Tarmo, could you start and give a short introduction of yourself, and then a little bit about the projects that you and me are working, and then I will do the same.
Hello, I am Tarmo. I'm distinguished architect. I'm ex-chief architect of largest Swiss banking platform. In addition, 11 years Credit Suisse vice president. I have enormous experience in blockchain and in architecture. Martin, back to you.
And I am Martin. I'm co-founder together with Tarmo of Smart Credit and of ChainAware. Now, Smart Credit is a fixed-term borrow-lend platform. We are on Ethereum, so in top 20, top 23, depending on the day, higher or lower. But it's a fixed-term, fixed interest borrows from. And ChainAware, I'm a co-founder. We'll speak a little bit later about the ChainAware. My background now, Tarmo gave a very short intro about his background. So there is a little difference between Tarmo and me. Tarmo has 4 master degrees from diverse universities and 1 PhD. Now I have only I have only 4 master degrees. I don't have a PhD, but I have a PhD from the Life University. So we are more or less than equal. Now we both are CFAs, we both are chartered financial analysts, and we know crypto very well. We have been a very, very long in the sector. So now let's say a little bit about the projects that we are working. Okay, like a smart credit, fixed term borrow lend, so fixed interest borrow lend platform, and a lot of new features coming in. But the other is a ChainAware. So it's practically monetizing with AI all the blockchain data that you can read out, all the public data that is there on the chain. And there's very many use cases, very many monetizable use cases. That's what the ChainAware is doing. Okay, that was the intro, so that you know that we have quite some background. So if you're listening it first time to us, and we have a series of this X-Spaces. We're doing them every 2 weeks. The next one is again in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, in 2 weeks, and so it continues. Now let's get back to today's topic then. How do we speed up Web3 and DeFi? How to get more users? How to get more retention? How to get more growth?
Yes, Martin, and maybe first numbers. We have in blockchain now around 500 million users. And when we ask how many of them are using Web3 applications or DeFi, then these numbers are not 500 million. In DeFi, what we know is how many addresses, Martin? 40 billion addresses are involved, right?
Yes. If you're looking, what is this platform where all these queries are made? Or like, I forgot now. Just in this second, so it was where we see 50 million DeFi users. Okay, now let's take Dune. Sorry, Dune Analytics. Sorry to the Dune guys that I forgot the platform. Now, but let's add some L2 users from other chains as well, and maybe some applications are not listed there. But then we had to discount that many users, advanced users, are using multiple addresses, and so some factors are adding more users, some factors are reducing number of users. So let's stick to 50 million. But now that's interesting. So we see crypto as, let's say, 500 million plus minus, but the Web3 is 50 million users, so we have factor 10 difference. But now, if people are using crypto, they usually mean that they're on the Binance or they're on the Coinbase or they're on some other exchanges. Hopefully, they're not on these exchanges which get closed down, like a Bittrex or this very famous exchange who was running away. So hopefully they're on this trustable exchanges, the people. But then it's this famous key. You're not controlling your key. You're not controlling your assets.
Yes, Martin, and people who are using blockchain and not controlling their key, it's not your key, not your assets, and it's really a question why do users take this risk? Why don't they come over to Web3? Why don't they come over to DeFi? Why do they stick to this central finance? Web3 or central finance crypto organizations, and if you know risks what you have in central finance platforms, we will not now list them all. It is real question. Why is it happening? And this is maybe what shows the issue. We have 500 million users in blockchain, and maybe only 10% of them take the risk to go away from central finance to Web3 or DeFi. And we have seen these numbers already some years, and this is not really changing. And this is observation, Martin, what I have, that people, even if they know enormous risks of central finance platforms, they better stay in central finance platforms, and they don't come over to DeFi, they don't come over to Web3. And question is why?
Okay, and probably the why. Okay, you answered the question indirectly too. The why is it's the people are perceiving this as a high risk. People are thinking that the central finance platforms, be it the Binance or there was an FTX, for example, or there was a Celsius, there were a lot of most of borrow lending platforms that disappear. Central finance borrow lending platforms. Okay, let's add as well. Actually, it's the CeFi is a little bit wrong term on this centralized finance applications, because actually these are traditional finance systems. These are traditional finance systems which are now applied on a special asset class which is a crypto. Technically speaking, it's the same regulations, it's the same systems, procedures, standard operating procedures. Maybe younger companies don't have them, but they are going like a traditional finance. So traditional finance, let's call it the custodial systems. This is then the traditional finance and the centralized finances. And on the other side, we have this non-custodial, the Web3 system. So, and the main reason is the risk. People, okay, the risk and the usability. And we're coming to the next topics, but let's leave usability a little bit aside at the moment. So it's the perceived risk, because people are seeing the news. Okay, here's the hack, and here's a scammer, and here's a rug pull. It's the risk. It's the perceived, very high perceived risk. And let's stay on the focus on the today's topic, because we have so much to speak. We know so much. Okay, how to speed up? How do we speed up the Web3 and DeFi and the penetration into the economy?
And this is what you said. We have to reduce the risk. And when we talk about numbers, hackers' fee in DeFi is around 2-3% of total value locked per annum. And if you go to DeFi and you know there is so much hacking, then you really have to be very sure that you do it. And we can't expect that new users come over to DeFi if they learn that we have a hackers fee around 2-3% per year, per annum. And this means that all the fight with hackers is not working, and this hackers fee is not dropping. It has been quite stable over the last years, despite enormous investments into security companies, etc. And what is happening here, Martin, is that we don't have real-time hackers or real-time fraud detection built into applications.
Yes, the fraud detection has been a very high privilege because these are very high, expensive systems. Okay, I cannot speak now the yearly license cost of these guys. They are very high. They are very high. Now, but these systems have been built for the centralized finance platforms. Now, on Binance and Kraken and Coinbase and you name it, they are fully happy to pay tons of money for these platforms, and because the regulators are asking, you have to use these platforms, and they are doing it. Now, but what's about these other 50 million DeFi users, 50 million Web3 users? Which platforms will they use? Or what's about these 20,000 Web3 platforms, like the providers of the Web3 applications? Okay, maybe it's 30,000, maybe it's 50,000.
Yes, Martin, and the risk goes over to users. And what we have in ChainAware is real-time APIs, real-time algorithms. We can say which address is fraudulent, which address will make a rug pull, which address will betray you. We can identify it real-time and before you make your transactions. And if we could implement this technology over all DeFi platforms, that in DeFi, if you interact from MetaMask with some address, or before you interact from Ledger or other hardware wallets with some address, or from all non-custodial wallets with some address, that you could check the address. Is it trustable, or is it a very strange address where you are sending your funds? We could eliminate fraud in very, very, very high percentage and reduce trust of users. So we are speaking about trust of users, Martin. And if I come to DeFi and I see rug pull here, rug pull there, hacker here, hacker there, again phishing here, phishing there, and we can't require that all users are experts, and we have to offer to users something that they are not afraid of this enormous hacking, and this is real-time fraud detection. With real-time fraud detection, Martin, we can restore trust.
Oh, okay, this is one side. On one side, we need a real-time fraud detection, but now we have to speak as well the role of the AI here. So, because if you're speaking fraud detection, we have two disciplines. One is the AML, like an AML algorithm, which is then the output of an AML algorithm is so-called AML score. Now, this is actually a public algorithm. Okay, let me describe it very fast. So, okay, in Ethereum, what was there like a tornado? There's this tornado money or some black accounts, the marked accounts. You start with these accounts and you look how this money from these black marked accounts flows to the system. And now for every address, you know, that's the percentage of a bad money on this address. And this is, it's like you're mixing wine and water. You pour more water, clean water into the wine, and then the ratio of the wine, which is the black money in this analogy, is going down. So, and this gives you the AML score. So AML score 1 is pretty good. So there is very little ratio of the bad money. AML score 0 is then absolutely the best. Now AML score 10 is like already, there is a little bit pretty much bad money there. So better not to interact with this address. Now this is this AML standard algorithm. And this AML standard algorithm, this is coming from traditional finance, and it's absolutely not real time. It's absolutely created for the compliance departments. Now, compliance guys, okay, the work is pretty repetitive. Sometimes they're getting a little bit bored, so they're getting some little notifications. Then they look on the screen, they go home, they come next day, and then 2 days later, they maybe block that account. But that's how they're working. Now, the same approach got implemented in centralized finance, which is actually nothing else traditional finance because it's a custodial finance. So the same approach. How come the same approach? Because custodial finance controls your asset. Actually, when Binance or Kraken or someone else is blocking your account, what you are using on these exchanges are IOUs. Your assets are in the cold custody. You have no access to them. They block the access on your IOUs. If you want to now receive your real funds, that's where the blocks are set it up. So, and that means this central finance, from one side, these are fraud detection systems that we have in our crypto. They're very much driven by the centralized finance requirements, and from this traditional AML compliance, which is resulting in AML score. Now, the key issue is, okay, sorry, maybe we jump too fast over this. You cannot apply these approaches, these paradigms now for the Web3. You cannot approach this paradigm. I need some compliance department. No, there is no compliance department in Web3. Everyone is doing his own compliance. You cannot block transactions. It's you instead of blocking transactions, you have to use the predictive AI that you're saying this my counterpart is not good enough. I don't want to interact with the. Please continue.
And this is what these central finance companies are doing. It's like they identified afterwards it happened, but you cannot revert transactions. If you are in fiat world and you make a wrong USD transaction, it is possible to revert it and money is sent back.
Oh, yes. In Switzerland, we have 251 banks now. Each of these bank license holders, the holding companies, they get a bank license only then if they're in the IT systems, they can reverse transactions. So simple. You cannot have banking license without reverting the transactions. Now, of course, in blockchain, we say nothing is revertible, fully okay. But the fraud detection systems that we have in a blockchain, all these big companies, DRM Labs, Coinfirm, Chainalysis, you name it, all these companies which got hundreds of millions of investments in dollars, they got the investments. They implemented this system how it's known from the traditional finance. So
yes, without the option to revert transactions. And so what does it help users? Yes, they say, okay, your money was stolen, you send it to a fake account. Okay, so what, you can't get it back? So what I'm going to do? Okay, I'm informed, but I knew it already. In traditional finance, this transaction can be reverted, can be made back, as Martin just explains, or you don't have banking license. And in DeFi, this mechanism is not working. You can't revert the transaction. And what it means is we have to identify these wrong transactions real time. And this is possible before it happens, because we can't revert transaction, Martin. You can't revert transaction in blockchain. In fiat world, you can revert transactions. And all these systems that we have now for fraud and AML and so, they are working like in fiat world, but you can't apply it for crypto. And the result is that users are robbed and users are victims. And what we need is that all DeFi industry, all Web3 industry comes over to real-time predictive algorithms, which address is going to have
to fraud,
to make a fraud, to make a scam. And in ChainAware we have these algorithms. Real time, we can predict it 98%. And if we could bring these algorithms now to tens of thousands of Web3 applications which use Ethereum, Binance, Ton, and
Polygon,
we could massively reduce these scams happening. And this is like the first precondition that all these newbies who come now to crypto, that they are not hurt by DeFi, that they are not hurt by rug pulls, that they are not hurt by scams. And APIs, but we have real-time APIs. If application would integrate them, we could protect users. We could protect all these newbies who have not yet been rug pulled or scammed.
Because what we do in ChainAware, what we do in the fraud detection and in the rug pull detection, we are using the AI models. We are using our AI models to analyze the blockchain history of the addresses. And every address, behind every address, okay, we have contracts as well, but behind every address we have a human behave in a certain ways. Now, and all this thinking that we as humans have, there will be Spuren, okay, there will be little markers on the blockchain, and from this blockchain markers, from this blockchain transactions, from blockchain indications, we trained our AI, and based on this past history, we predict which addresses are trustable, or which pools are trustable. So addresses, okay, like for people transferring assets here and there, or which pools, like which Binance pools are trustable. Let's face it, like a 90%, okay, nothing against Binance, we respect Binance, 90% of a Binance pools they will end up in a rug pool. Either so that the liquidity is then withdrawn, or someone is just dumping there like a zig zillions of tokens and just withdrawing liquidity via this way. So because you can verify yourself. Okay, it's getting a little bit technical. You just go on the Binance, okay, on PancakeSwap, the biggest Binance pool provider. I think it's called Contract Factory version 2, and you just look on the history there, and you will see that most of pools, their lifetime is like a 1 house or 2 hours, and that's it. That's finished. 90%, maybe even more than 90% now. And then all these new people who are coming into the Web3, okay, they are coming, a lot of coming via the Binance because the gas costs are less on the Binance than on the Ethereum. They are coming to Binance, and there are some shillers on the Twitter, all these fake shillers or the bot armies. There are the shiller armies in the Telegram, or the fake shillers and again the bot armies. They shill, they pump something up. These newcomers are coming, they're buying something. Boom.
Yes.
Gone, rug pulled.
Yes,
So,
they got burned, and then we are later surprised why are people not coming over to DeFi, because we don't do real-time fraud detection. You have to check every address before you make a transaction.
And there are these extremely expensive systems for the centralized finance platforms, but they are operating on fully on different assumptions. And anyhow, we consider centralized finance just an extension of traditional finance. So because the paradigm is custodial versus custodial, someone else is doing the custody, or self-custodial. And technically, for the self-custodial systems, now let's think we can use how to use these traditional systems to the self-custodial world. Particularly, it's a big database, but they have all these forensic databases with the forensic data, and they have as well this AML algorithm where they're calculating this AML score, meaning the flow of the bad funds. Or we made this example, the wine versus the water, how we are mixing wine meaning bad and the water meaning good. What's the ratio of the wine in a certain address then, if it's flowing to the system? So, and this is giving you an AML score. Now, even if this AML score, and some have tried it, is used now in the case of DeFi that you get real time this AML score, it doesn't help you. It doesn't help you.
Martin, and the thing in hacker score, hackers percentage, hackers fee, it is stable. Over the last years, when all this AML and static algorithms are used from traditional finance, the hacker's fee is stable. It is 2-3% per annum from total value locked. It means all these technologies which are used today to fight fraud are not working. We see it. Hackers fee is not dropping. To get hackers fee down, the only option is real-time predictive analytics. And the industry does too, like you make 12 or 20 your smart contract audits, or you use all this AML system from Chainalysis, etc., etc. It don't help you because they don't find it. The protection is real-time prediction. Is the counterparty scammer or not?
Exactly. Now, some listeners can say that we are making advertisement for the ChainAware. Okay, if you get this impression, that's okay, but we are speaking of a bigger problem here. And the problem is this, what just Tarmo said. These traditional fraud detection companies, they have created for the CeFi, okay, which is extension of traditional finance. Now, for the Web3, these approaches ain't work. They don't work, and this is scaring away the people. People get burned, they run away, they're not joining.
And we have demonstrated it over last 2-3 years. Hackers fee is constant, it's not dropping. We have all these technologies, they are not helping, and the people just don't come over to DeFi. And the reason is real-time fraud detection.
And let me make some examples of the real-time fraud detection. I think it was last year the Euler got hacked and so, and it was because we are monitoring the addresses where there's a news that some address is getting attacked. We looked then on the hacker's address, and And the whole system identified the hacker's address. In case of Euler, I think there's 200 million hackers, so it's a bad address. It took for these traditional systems, I don't know, 12 hours longer to mark this address as a negative address. Because you see, in the crypto, you need real time. Then the other very famous case, this was this ledger, because in the ledger there was this software error where someone changed some web components, and this resulted in some trainer, the so-called the trainer, the guy who trained the addresses, and a trainer address. AI said this trainer address is bad. Just based on the past behavior of this address, we say better don't interact with this address. Ledger did interacted with this address. I think they promised it that they pay back the money to the clients. So, okay, I assume they keep the word. So.
Yes, it was $600,000 was trained, and it would be cheaper for Ledger if they use our real-time API than to pay back the money.
Yeah. So they paid now the 600,000 back to the users who got affected. Okay, there was a PR disaster for the Ledger. Meaning self-custody and the trainer address. But this is just an example. And yeah, but I want to say this trainer address, it got marked as well 12 hours or even longer later. Now, let's make now, okay, but these are big examples. I mean, Euler, 200 million hack, okay, or a Ledger hack. Okay, it was 600 million, but the PR disaster for the Ledger. Now let's take a third example. Okay, it's our own system, ChainAware. It's unbelievable. Someone, we have no clue who did it. Okay, maybe one day we'll figure it out. Took a full website and they created a copy of a website and they call it a secure AI. And not only the copy to a website, they connected their secure AI website, which was a copy of us, with our backend so that you could use this system to query the addresses. And they issued a token. And they pushed the token, they shielded, and surprise, surprise, they did a rug pull. Of course, we found it out. We found it out pretty early. And we looked on the creator address. We looked on the creator address of this pool, this secure AI, the scam pool. Our AI said address is not good. Meaning if the creator address is not good, then don't interact with the pool. So our AI is saying it. We know it's a bad address, so we are sending the emails everywhere. We report the address everywhere, like don't interact with this address. And we even report it to the systems where this pool is listed, like, hey, this is a rug pull. The rug pull is coming. Please put some markers there. Put some information on your website. This pool is a rug pull. Like, not that people are losing their money. Of course, nothing happened. No one put this anywhere, any markers. No one was putting anywhere any messages. And it went how we predicted, because the address was bad. I mean, our website got copied, it got shielded, fake token was created, and the rug pull followed. Okay, people lost some money, like the people who participated in this shilling, fraud, rug pull. But this is another example. You see, this is a small example, what to say. So we spoke about bigger examples like an Euler hack, or we spoke of the Ledger trainer. I think there are more of these kind of cases. We are sometimes putting this on our Twitter channel. Again, yet another case where we recognize something. Because you see, in the case of this CeFi AML based fraud system, there's always a time delay. First, they're not finding them, then it's a time delay, and obviously it's AML algorithm based. But if you're using predictive AI, we are analyzing the patterns. We are using behavioral patterns of the addresses. And these behavioral patterns of the addresses, they predict so much about the future behavior of this address. So if you know the address has been on involved in some fishy kind of patterns, you will probably do the same in the future. So better not to interact with this address. Why do they get all the list? And again, we have a 98%. We have 98% prediction. Now, some people can say that we want to sell our software. Now, we want to speak about this issue. Let's speak about the issue that we have. If you're thinking you want to sell our software, please invite us into your Twitter spaces. We'll be happy to speak in your Twitter space. We are speaking of the issue. The issue is how do we get the fraud rate down? And the fraud rate down, it's so simple, as Tarmo was saying. It has to be real time, not like in the case of Ledger hack or the Euler hack or this example where I made it a ChainAware, and someone decided to copy ChainAware website to create a fake token. It has to be real time. It has to be predictive. It has to be integrated.
And we have this proof We have proof that the current technologies which are used are not working because hackers' fee is not dropping. It is
And why?
stable year to
Because
year
it,
at least.
okay, we worked 10 years I worked 10 years for Credit Suisse. Time I worked a little bit longer than Credit Suisse. No? You don't need to be a super intelligent then to figure out how to fake the AML algorithms. Okay, we will not give an education here in this session. We don't want to help, but I think hackers are as well as at the intelligence level, so they're figuring it out too. So it just doesn't work. This AML algorithm. Now let's speak traditional finance very fast. In traditional finance, the regulator is saying you have to use two algorithms. The one is the AML algorithm, which we explained. It's like you mix the wine and the water. Wine being in this case the bad and the bad money. That's an AML algorithm. There are compliance departments looking at this. The second is on transaction monitoring. Every transaction coming into the bank, going out of the bank is going to a transaction monitoring. And these are 99.9999, so let's say 100% AI-based systems. AI-based systems, they just know bad patterns, they recognize the bad patterns, they predict the future things. It's so simple it is. Now, and that's how it works in a traditional finance. So we have both sides. So, and and now let's come to the crypto world. Now, in the crypto world, it's very interesting that the regulators are saying everywhere. The regulators are saying you have to do the AML, so meaning that you have to use the AML algorithm, and you have to do the transaction monitoring. No, but no one is doing transaction monitoring. No one is using AI. So everyone is doing this AML, like which is kind of codified in the law how you have to do it. And if the regulator is asking why you're not doing AI, they're saying, hey, there are no systems available. And blockchain is so big, there's so much data, no one knows anything. We just do the AML. Okay. So, however, the regulator is saying it, and it's saying this to the centralized finance platforms. No, but indirectly, the same applies on all the Web3 and the DeFi platforms. So you need both monitorings to protect, from one side, the platforms, from the other side, the users. So simple it is. And there is only so much that you can do with the AML algorithm, only so much. Why? Because it addresses only a small subset, and it's it's always delayed information. Now, what we are saying in a Web3, this is real time. And then the AML algorithm is like a big train, which is then slowly coming closer to the event horizon. Event horizon is always going away. And for other side, you need a transaction monitoring with the AI, predictive, and all of this has to be real time. The Web3 systems have to integrate these things so that they will exclude automatically the bad wallets. So if someone has a bad wallet, you just exclude it. Either you do shadow banning, but if shadow banning, you let the user to connect the wallet, but you don't enable him to do transactions. You just shadow ban him. Or the other thing is you just do hard banning that you're saying like after the connect wallet, user, I don't want to deal with you, go away. It's not good wallet. I come with another wallet. So, okay. So Web3 platforms should implement it. Yeah, Tarmo.
And Martin, we have now shown what is this reason for the hackers fee, and that the last years things haven't changed, and now we have technology in place to eliminate this hackers fee, annual hackers fee 2-3% per year in blockchain. But what are there other issues what we could also do to improve Web3 or DeFi grow?
With an AI, and okay, the focus here always Web3 and AI. How do we mix them together? Okay, yes. Okay. For the listeners, we keep the session on 60 minutes. Maybe we have a little overrun. Now let's jump to the second topic. It's the marketing technologies. Marketing technologies with the Web3 and AI, because it's about how do we get the users now. Okay, Tarmo, I hope you don't mind if I'm saying what was your first master degree, or should I not say it?
Oh, you can say it. Yes, please.
I think it was 1996. This was before the internet hype, and Tarmo wrote his master thesis on the topic one-to-one online marketing. So it was nearly 30 years ago. Okay.
Yes, I'm an old veteran.
So that means old veteran. This was before the internet hype, which was then on the Web 2. It was a Web 1, Web 2. It was about one-to-one marketing. It was one of Thomas' master theses. Okay, he has other master theses too in other universities. Now, okay, now it's the Web3 marketing. Now, how do we bring the users to the platforms? Okay, we have 20,000 Web3 platforms. Now, most of Web3 marketing Okay, one topic is fraud. We spoke about this. We get new users that are getting frauded, either rug pulled or they're directly frauded, and run away. The other is how do we get users on the right applications? Because not every user wants to use the same application. Not every user wants to use whatever gaming platform, whatever borrowing lending platform, or whatever yielding platform. People have different intentions. Now, if you look at a Web2 marketing, the old world, all marketing in a Web2 is intention-based marketing. I know users' intentions. I'm targeting the users' intent based on the intentions. Of course, now if you look into Google Ads and so, they're not exposing the data. They are not allowed to expose the data. Actually, they have all the data. They have thousands of attributes about every single web user. They are there. And they are doing intention-based marketing. They're calculating the intentions based on your search history. They're calculating your intentions based on your browsing history. Okay, but the issue is here that your search history just is very much a trigger based. Something triggers you. Oh, I saw some flashlight somewhere. Now I'm searching something. What's this? Or that you're reading. This is as well like someone sent you an interesting Twitter link and now you're reading something. So it doesn't actually say so much about you, but based on this data, if there's a lot of data, and this data can be pattern matched against other data, so you can predict like the future intentions of the persons. Now, all Web2 marketing is intention-based marketing. Now, Google keeps most of data for himself, the same as Facebook is doing, and they give them to others, then a little bit less data. Okay, it's called fair competition, but we're not going into this discussion of so-called fair competition. Well, actually, it's unfair competition. But it's an intention-based marketing.
Yes, Martin, and what you see is that in Web2 we do intention-based marketing. The question is now, how is Web3 do?
And the Web3 is a fully mass marketing. Now, why is a mass marketing? The Web3. So you buy a lot of media because you cannot use Google Ads anyhow. You cannot use the other things. Like crypto and Web3 is banned from everywhere. Okay, there's some little loopholes, but they're very costly or they're very ineffective. Now, so usual marketing approaches use a lot of media. Perfect. You need a lot of media. Okay. Same message for everyone. Now, so you put out same message from everyone. Now these people are getting to your webpage. And they're on your webpage. They're getting on your webpage too, same message for everyone. That means they're getting it on some publisher on media website. The same message for everyone. Forget one-to-one marketing. It's a pure mass marketing. So let's say 1930s when the marketing as a discipline emerged. Okay, that time it was a newspaper. Now we do it on crypto media. And then he gets on your application. So that time it was a shop 100 years ago, and now it's like a Web3 website. He gets again the same message. He got into your shop, he gets the same message. So mass marketing with the same messages. So he used the influencers. Tarmo, yes.
Yes, and what you see, what is now difference to Web2, when you compare Web2 and Web3 is, first in Web2, we know intentions of users who come to, we bring them based on intentions to a website. It is step one. And if they land in our website or in Web2 website, what is done in Web2 is so-called adaptive applications. That the user interface is adapted, is it with banners or with some elements or UI elements, to the user to increase conversion ratio from just a click to transacting user. And this is what happens in Web2. In Web2, all the marketing technology, what is implemented, is built up in a way how to increase conversion ratio from users who, from seeing a display ad or from seeing a Twitter ad or in Facebook, how to increase conversion ratio till transacting user that he buys or reserves or whatever he does. In what we do in Web3 is total mass marketing. We go to all users. We even don't distinguish often between Web2 and Web3 users. We go with Web3 messages to Web2 users, which is nonsense. And then we are surprised that we have so small conversion ratio in Web3. And this is now a self-built issue, what we have in Web3. Because the question is, how could I do it? I have to know intention of an address. How do I know intention of an address? And now again, surprise, In ChainAware, we have technology. We can say intention of an address.
Now, if just a little side remark now in ChainAware, if you put in, for example, Vitalik.eth or any other Ethereum or Binance or so address, Polygon. Okay, on Ton we don't have the intentions. On Ton we have only fraud detection. You see, we predict what the user will do the next. What are his interests? But this is just a light overview of these intentions. Of course, there are much more intentions that can be calculated. So what will the user be as the next? Is he a gamer? Is he a short-term trader? Is he an investor? Is he like a leveraged trader, like a high-risk trader? Who is he? What is his willingness to take a risk? Meaning, is he a risk taker? Is he a risk avoider? What is his experience? So, which protocols, which categories of protocols? Okay, that's statistical analysis. That's a little bit easier, like a statistical analysis. So, which protocols has the user used? Is he more a text user? So if we have all this data based on the on-chain, and this gives his intentions, the user intentions. And now based on these intentions, you create the audiences, and then you can target these audiences. Okay, this is the first step. Now the second step, when you get the users to your website, okay, the first step is intention-based targeting. If let's make an example. What is intention-based targeting? We have in ChainAware the rug pull detection system. It's an AI-based system. It's not like an EVM source code debugging or scanning-based system. No, it's purely AI-based system. It looks on the creator addresses. Or if the creator addresses was just feed it from one address, he looks on the feeder, where he finds meaningful amount of funds. He looks on the liquidity providers. How is the liquidity providers' addresses? And this together gives them the trustability of the score. But this is all this address analytics. We run it with the AI because we look on the patterns. Oh, we are not looking. AI does it. AI does it for us. And we teach the AI to learn from the data, and then AI uses the data that we give to AI to give us then the percentages, the probabilities. Okay. So we have this rug pull detection system. Now, what is an audience? Audience can be people who have been rug pulled in the past. Audience can be people who will be rug pulled in the future. They just don't know it. Audience can be people who.
Martin, we know who will be rug pulled in the future.
We know who will be rug pulled in the future.
And we can even calculate who will be scammed in the future.
Yep. Oh, okay, rug pull example is an extreme. So just imagine, okay, because there's a lot of these shilling groups, all these investors who are coming from 24 hours on some system, on some new tokens, buy low, sell high. How often they're getting rug pulled? But for them, it's already calculated risk that they know half of pools they're just rug pulled. They know it. Now we give them the tools. Okay, it's not about rug pulling. Let's get back to the marketing, but creating audience of people who have been rug pulled, or creating audience of people who will be rug pulled, creating audience of people who have borrowed, creating audience of people who will borrow in the future. They just don't know it yet, but they will borrow in the future.
Yes,
creating audience of lenders
who want to play some games or want to buy some NFTs or want to exercise with some new blockchains. It's all what we can calculate. We can calculate intention of a user. What will user do in future? In positive sense, what are his interests, or in negative sense, will he be scammed? And eventually, we can even calculate when will the user be scammed. So sooner or later, we can make a dashboard and give addresses. This address is scammed in week 17. This address will be scammed in week 18. We can predict this stuff. And this is just example of intention. We can predict intention of users, and it's also possible to predict when this intention happens. And now, if you have this information and an address connects you to your website, what are you going to do? In current Web3 is you show this mass media user interface. Okay, it's the same for everybody. In Web2, it's different. Gartner, this huge research organization, says in Web2, we will have 2025, it means end of next year, 70% of Web2 applications will have adaptive user interfaces. It means if a user comes to an application will adjust a little bit to increase conversion ratio. We are talking about Web2, it's this old dinosaur technology. We are laughing about old Web2, ha ha ha. Web2 is more innovative than Web3, guys. Have you noticed it? Web2 goes over into adaptive applications. Web2 wants to increase conversion ratio from users who see display ad till transacting to 20-30%. And this is what they achieve with intention-based marketing and with adaptive applications. And why should I as a user come over to Web3 who uses some dinosaur technologies which don't have intention marketing, and I see applications which don't understand what I want? Of course I don't want. I will stay in Web2. And this is what currently happens. People stay in Web2 because Web3 don't use also intention marketing and don't use adaptive applications.
Yeah, but because in Web2, okay, people don't like it if I'm saying, but I will say it anyhow, because in Web2, the marketing systems will bring you to the websites which you will like, based on your intentions. It happens on the Web2, okay, it is so. You want to say, you can say you don't want to hear these things, no, but it's so, it is so. Now, but how is it in a Web3? Are we bringing these new users? Okay, let's assume we solved the fraud issue. We solved the rug pull issue. We solved the scam issue. Okay, like that we have everywhere real-time predictive analytics, real-time predictive AI. We know which addresses we can trust. We know which pools we can trust. Let's assume this is solved. Now we get the second question. Do we bring these users to the right Web3 applications, the marketers? Are they taken? Or are we taking an NFT who want to be NFT buyers to the borrowing applications, or who want to be gamers to the leverage trading? How does it work? In a Web2, it works. It works in the background. Now, and if you're coming to the Web3, you are like, again, in the 1930s. Sorry for this. It's not innovation. It's when the Wall Street marketing emerged. I think it was 1930s and so. Okay, plus minus. Okay, I'm a little bit maybe wrong. So mass messages in the newspapers for everyone the same, and you get to the shopping floor. In the shopping floor, the same message for everyone. 100 years ago, okay, that time newspaper and the shopping floor. Now, what is different in a Web3? It's all the same. Instead of newspaper, we have now some let's call it the crypto media companies, crypto publisher companies. 9,000 of them. They put some articles. Same message for everyone. Okay, cool. Now, the next one is the user gets to the website. The first time user, he gets the same message. Every one of them gets the same message. Now, what's the difference in the 1930s, 90 years ago, or 94 years ago? There's no difference.
Yes, and what happens as a result is that conversion ratio, Martin, in Web2 application will go up to 20%. And conversion ratio in Web3 applications will stay like by 0.1%. And now guess where will you make a profit? You will make a profit in Web2. You will not make a profit so in Web3. Web3 applications are built in a way that you can't make a profit because you don't adapt to users. So if you go to a nightclub at evening and start talking to some girls, so will you talk with them like in a mass media style? No, you don't do it. You talk with everybody personally. But in Web3, we are like, how is it called? Really early stage of child development. We think we can talk with everybody in the same way. And what we need, please.
Yes, Tama, dating advice. It's the same as dating advice here, but let's let's get some dating advice back to Web3. Yes, Tama.
Yes, sorry.
No, it's very good. It's a perfect analogy how the real world is working. And now let's think again. we have these zig thousands of people who are interested, technologists, other people, they're thinking on the Web3. Okay, again, we solved the fraud issue, but now they're rooted to the wrong systems. They're rooted to systems where they don't have any intentions. And if you are rooted via the marketing ads or via the crypto media, like to the places where you're not interested, you lose the interest. You need to be rooted there where you are interested, and then you stick around. So, and now you go to this a place where you are interested. Okay, you're some NFT buyer, or you are some gamer, and so. Then cool. But now you're on this website. Now you're on this Web3 application. That's now. Do you still get the same messages, or should it be, for example, like in the case of smart credit, for example, that certain borrowers get certain messages, other lenders get other messages, other people get other messages. It should be one-to-one marketing, guys. It should be one-to-one marketing. So, meaning you look on the intentions of the user, and the same magic that the Web2 marketing has solved the one-to-one marketing. Okay, your old master thesis, one-to-one marketing, online one-to-one marketing.
30 years ago, now Web2 does do it, and hopefully we can manage also that Web3 learns something from Web2. That we start, please.
Exactly, that's what you said. It Web3 is always presenting himself as a highly innovative. We are highly innovative. We are highly innovative. We are highly innovative. This is like some self-perception. Now, highly innovative means as well innovative approaches have to be used. Now, but here we are seeing that in a Web2 we have a much higher conversion ratios because of intention-based marketing, because of adaptive applications. And these are big applications are generating revenues thanks to these technologies. Now in the Web3, we are going full on this mass marketing, same message to everyone. 1930s like newspapers. Then in the shopping floor, same message to everyone. Again, 1930s, same message to everyone. Yeah, okay, and that's where we start to repeat on this. That's intention-based marketing. So intention-based marketing, where we can calculate the intentions based on the blockchain history. And maybe Tarmo, we should speak a little bit why. Okay. Let me just finish the talk. And so one is intention-based marketing, and the other is adaptive applications. And both together,
Yes.
you will increase the conversion ratios. Because what's the issue? From one side, we have the issues here now of the Web3 users. The Web3 users are rooted somewhere where they are not interested. From the other side, we have the issue of Web3 platforms. They need to start to generate revenues too. On the end, every platform needs to generate revenues. Now, if they are not getting the conversion ratios up, if they have their very low retentions, if they cannot do cross-sale, upsell, and all other approaches, they run out of cash, they will close down. Okay, wasted money, wasted innovation. So they have to get to this cash flow break even where they start to generate as well, at least as much cash as there is then expense to survive in the long term. So, and of course, they have to generate a little bit more to get some extra profit now. Okay, so from one side, you see it's the issue for the users. From other side, it's issue for the platforms. Just who will not survive as long. Okay. I know the German was the Tourstrecke, like okay, I think in English you say the valley of tears. So before they get in a profitability on the other side. Now, but now the question is, okay, let's go to this practice. But I wanted to say this little hook. Why is the blockchain data perfect to calculate the intentions? Tarmo, we have 6 minutes left now. I don't want to overrun as I do every time.
Yes, time is flying fast. Blockchain data is financial data. And when we talk about now predictive power of different data sources, then financial data has from available data the highest predictive power. The second highest predictive power is your phone calls. To whom do you have your phone calls? This is the famous WhatsApp purchase by Zuki. The next by prediction capabilities is your search history, what Google is doing. And what it means is when we take now your financial transactions, we don't need many. We need 10, 15 transactions. And based on 10, 15 transactions, what you have done in your history, we can calculate almost everything. And with very high prediction power, not predictive power 50-50, no, prediction power over 95%. And eventually also time dimension, when is the event going to happen. And this is also data what is free. Take and dig in and just use this data. If you go into real world, you want to have such financial transactions history or just data about financial transactions, you pay per one user.
Okay, just let's imagine that someone is going to Credit Suisse. Tarmo and me, we both worked 10 years for Credit Suisse. Now, Credit Suisse was a very big bank. That Credit Suisse went down. That's a fully separated topic. Fully separated. It was a very good bank. Now, let's assume we go to Credit Suisse and say, I want to have your transaction data. Bank secrecy, zero. You even don't ask this question. Now, the same is in other countries. But banks themselves can analyze this data, and they are analyzing this data. Banks themselves know what are your next actions based on your past transaction history.
Yes.
Now, of course, if we worked in a private banking, of course, we cannot tell this to the client. You cannot tell to your client, I know what are your next action. So, dear grandma, very nice to see you. I know what are your next actions. You can never do it. But you know the next actions because the data is there and these actions are calculated. So, and you see in the DeFi, we have so many people who say that they're working in the banks, who are working in the banks, who are working in the banks. And I'm always asking, do they really know how the banks make money? Do they really know it? Banks are sales organizations. And banks are doing sales based on your intentions. In the same way as a marketing organizations are doing marketing based on your intentions. Okay, on intentions and risk profile, both matches in. So there's some more criteria that are coming in banking. So we have some limitations what you can sell, what you cannot sell. But these are sales organizations and data processing organizations. Banks, 90% of a bank IT system is data processing, data analysis, data, whatever kind of thing. That's how the banks create the money. What happens with the people?
Intentions and to know what the customer really wants and to know who you can trust, how much you can trust. It's everything calculated. And somehow in DeFi, we think we don't need it. So it's really like,
all these so-called, I'm using the word so-called, I'm using it one more time, so-called financial experts who worked in the banks and who then created the DeFi sector, looks like they totally forgotten it. Okay, my comment is maybe they didn't know it, like how the banks are actually generating the money. You have to calculate the intentions of your users. You have to know your user inside out. When you get a phone call, before you pick up the phone call, you see on the screen, boom.
Banks are actually Web1. And
banks are Web1.
Web1 and Web1 is calculating intentions. We are talking that Web2 does do it also. And DeFi is not doing it. Web3 is not doing it. And it's really like, hey guys, what is going on? Web1 is doing it, Web2 is doing it, Web2 is building now also adaptive applications. This is the next level after intention marketing. And in Web3, we say, no, we don't want to do it. We do mass marketing. No, we don't do intention marketing. No, we don't do adaptive application. And then we are surprised that we have so small conversion ratios, like 1.1% of user convert to a transacting users.
In best case, you get 100 user and like a very high CPC ratios, but a very low, and we have multi-layer. Okay, first we have to get the user to the website. Okay, then from website we have him to connect the wallet. From connect the wallet we have him to get the transacting. So, and you're losing users on every step. So why? Because the messaging, the one-to-one messaging. Whom are you targeting? Are you targeting the right users? Oh, sorry, Tarmo, I jumped in. That is missing in a Web3. Yeah.
It is missing in Web3, and what we see, Web1 is doing it, Web2 is doing it, Web2 is moving over to adaptive application, and in Web3, we stay by the static mass media applications like what you said, 1930s or 100 years ago. And we do marketing in mass media style. And
mass media style. And we are surprised, why are there only 50 million people? Why are there not 500 million people using the Web3 applications? And people are surprised.
Oh,
Yes,
Martin, it's almost 1 hour. We have to wrap up. No, we didn't talk about all topics. Maybe there are several other issues also. But let's try to summarize, Martin. And what we saw is first, users are afraid to use DeFi because of hackers fee, which is constantly over the last years 2-3% per year. And second, we saw it that Web3 don't use intention marketing, what is standard in Web1 and Web2, and Web3 is not even dreaming about adaptive applications, which is becoming standard in Web2. And then we are surprised, why are users not coming over to DeFi? Why are users not coming over to Web3? Why should they? They are afraid and they see as downtime applications. So, and what it shows is that something that was thought to be innovative has become totally de-innovative, or how to express it. There is more innovation even in Web1 currently than we see in Web3. Or Martin, maybe try to summarize yourself.
Exactly. The question is like, what's the innovation? You see, the blockchain was a very big innovation. Now, a self-custodial system, that's a very big innovation. But what will now the next? What is coming now after the self-custodial systems? What's coming now? How do we get the mass growth? What is required for the mass growth? And when Tarmo and me we discussed about this, today's topic is exactly because we are full enthusiasts of the blockchain. Now we don't like centralized finance. If you're listening or Twitter Spaces every 2 weeks, you see we we always criticize centralized finance. We think there have to be Web3 applications. We think there have to be much more Web3 users. The question is, how do we get much more Web3 users? Okay, we wanted to speak about certain topics today. Okay, I think we want to speak a little bit more topics. As usual, we could only address the first two of them. But that's the key. How to grow the user base? What has to be done that the user entry is much easier? And of course, now some people are coming and telling, "Oh, it's about the usability of your application." I mean, yeah, good one, very good. There are bigger issues to be sorted out, and that's what just Tamadis mentioned. Okay, fraud systems, intention-based marketing, adaptive user interfaces. And that's how you will grow the communities. That's how you will create the trust. You will create the one-to-one matching between the personalities of the users and the applications. You'll get the intention-based marketing, one-to-one marketing. I mean, the dream of every Web2 marketer that we get in a Web3. And then we have again an innovation. Then we'll get an innovation in the Web3. And this innovation will bring the new wave. If this innovation will be missing, you will get it like a stagnating. Okay, what is stagnating? Tarmo said very nicely that the Web3 users are growing, but they're growing linear. So it's a linear growth. Now, linear growth in today's world, in the world of innovation, is a stagnating growth. It cannot be linear growth. It has to be a little bit more than linear. Okay, not polynomial. Oh, okay, it has to be upward sloping curve. Innovation. Web3 needs again the innovation, the same innovation that was there when the self-custody was created. The first DeFi applications were created. Same innovation has to be there. And this will come, this will bring this upward sloping curve. And now the current approaches, they will bring growth, but they will bring a linear growth. That's the limit.
Martin, and let's finish maybe that technologies for it. We have created technologies. We have real-time fraud protection, predictive fraud detection before transactions happen, before you execute transactions. We have intention calculations, and we have means to help build DeFi applications, adaptive applications. So technologies are there. There is a way how to transform the stagnating Web3, stagnating DeFi back to grow. You just have to start using AI-based technologies.
Merge the AI in the Web3 and you will get back to the innovation. Yep. That's it. Okay, guys. Then let's finish on this statement today. So I hope you liked today's Twitter space. No, in 2 weeks there will be again a Twitter space. In the next week on Saturday, we are on the Smart Critic community. We'll do the AMA, and then we always iterating it. So AMA versus a Twitter space. So I hope you like it. So listen in and please share it. So thank you guys. Bye.